Welcome, Sim Developer. To make simulations more realistic as they progress over time, you may want to add touches such as burn patterns that appear gradually or collapses. The simplest way to change the background photo is to make a new location that has the burn area or collapse. However, the switch to the new location would be sudden and therefore not as realistic or natural as if you could make the burning appear over time. In this lesson, I'm going to show you the basics of how to add burning and singeing around a window that has smoke coming out of it already. To do this, I'm going to use an image editing tool, in this case Adobe Photoshop Elements, but most image editing tools will have similar effects that you can apply. So let's take a look at the scenario. I have this building here with some smoke. You see, as I'm running this, I might be running this for a few seconds or it might be minutes, but realistically, I ought to be seeing some burning around the window frame. So let's see how we can add that. So I've opened up Adobe Photoshop Elements. You can open any tool that you choose. And now I'm going to go and get the background picture. Now what's important here is that I get the background picture that SimsUshare is using. I don't want to get the picture that you originally chose because SimsUshare is going to scale down your picture. And we're going to be replacing parts of the picture with the burned area. So it's important you go into your Sims and into the actual simulation and choose the photo that you're using. Now, if you think you're going to accidentally overwrite it, I would say just make a copy of it. Here I'm just copying it over here and select that exact same picture. That way you don't accidentally save something on the real background picture. So I'm going to open this up. And there's my picture. And now if I were to just use a paintbrush and start painting away with whatever color, that doesn't look particularly realistic. Now also I have gray there, but I'm going to say, if I do if I say this is black, and now I say, well, okay, maybe the opacity is not going to be 100%. So still, even if it doesn't look particularly good. It doesn't look like it's a burn pattern. Okay, so I'll use some feathering, but still, okay, not bad, but it's still not as good as actually another tool that you'll find in most of the image editing programs, which is the burn tool. Down over here it looks like this in this program, and the burn tool really just adds exposure or to the whatever is in the background. So I'm going to say at 85%. So you'll see here, if I just sort of go around with this tool, now my brush is not very sharp. So I'm going to go and take a sharp tool here, and now you see it just is basically enhancing the whatever happens to be in that picture. It's not actually painting over with a color like was happening before. And so you can see here, let's say that is going to be our burn pattern. So what we do at this point is we go and use the selection tool and try and get the whole edge, so all the way to the border of this thing. I'm just going to now select an area here, and I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to, and this one has a paste, I can do a new image from clipboard. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to save this one, save this, and it can be either a JPEG, or I like to use PNG because that preserves the it's what they call a lossless format, so it won't reduce the resolution. I'm going to call this burn 1, and I'm saving it. Let me put it onto my desktop. Now when I'm in SimsUshare, I go back, and now I go to, I say bring in utility, and I say picture, and now I go over to my desktop and I go find my burn pattern, and over here there's my burn pattern. So now the trick is going to be matching it exactly to the background picture there. So this is where I now go, and I can use the arrow keys to get it as close as possible, so I'm overlaying the background picture. Now I have to drop it beneath the smoke, so I'm going to drop it there. And now I also want to make it progressive. So what I do is I set the time. I'm editing the picture. I say delay timing, fade in when, and let me start fading it in at about 5 seconds. But now let's say that I'm going to now fade in duration. So after 5 seconds, how many seconds will it take to come in completely? And I'm going to say about 10 seconds, and probably even more would be appropriate if I could just type in a number, I don't know, 40 seconds or 20 seconds, whatever it is. I'm going to say 10 so we can see it come in. So now when I actually play the scenario, it's not there. I'm saying like 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. So you can see it's coming in. And this is how we can actually time it so we have our burn patterns or any other kind of visual damage coming in, rather than, as I mentioned in the beginning, just switching over to a new location. So again, a very interesting technique to make more realistic simulations.